Okay. So last class which has been completed, understanding about working with Visual Studio. I explained about the new features in the Visual Studio, all these things. Yeah. So this is all what we talked in the last class, where I explained about all these things to you. What is output type? What is target framework? What is implicit usings and what is nullable? All these things. Okay. Today we are going to start with object-oriented programming. Nagina, what? No, sir. No, sir. You're telling no, sir, for what? Yes, because we have a WhatsApp group. The group link is already shared in your Google Classroom. You can go click on it and join the group. Okay. Object-oriented programming. So what is object-oriented programming? This is an approach that is used in application development that came into picture in late 70s or early 80s to overcome the drawbacks of procedural programming approach. So understand the first point. So this is an approach that is used in application development that came into picture in late 70s or early 80s to overcome the drawbacks of procedural programming approach. Like remember, procedural programming approach doesn't have security and reusability of the code, right? Procedural programming languages doesn't have security of the code, reusability of the code. These two are not available in the procedural programming approach. So to overcome these particular problems, object-oriented programming approach came into picture. What came? Object-oriented programming approach came into picture. Okay. So that's what object-oriented programming approach came into picture to resolve the problems in procedural programming approach. Are you clearer or not? Like what? Security problem and the reusability problem. Okay, fine. To call any language as object-oriented, first, that language has to satisfy a set of rules that are prescribed under the standards of the language. Okay. What is it? To call any language as object oriented, first that language has to satisfy a set of rules that are prescribed under the standards of the language. There are a set of rules. There are a set of rules that are prescribed under the standards of the language. I repeat, there are a set of rules that are prescribed under the standards of the language. And do remember, if you want to call any language as object oriented, if you want to call any language as object oriented, must and should that language has to satisfy a set of rules. What are those? First one, encapsulation. Second one, abstraction. Third one, and fourth one is polymorphism. So any language to be called as object oriented needs to satisfy these 4 rules for sure. These 4 rules for sure. And guys, if you don't satisfy at least a single rule here also, if you don't satisfy at least a single rule here also, you cannot call that language as object oriented. Satisfied 3, failed 1, still your language is not object oriented. To be called as object oriented, all 4 rules are mandatory. Clearer or not? To be called as object oriented, all 4 rules are mandatory. Am I clear? Okay. So to call a language as object oriented, you need to satisfy all the 4 set of rules that are prescribed under the standards of the language: encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. Okay. You don't satisfy at least one also, that language cannot be called as an object oriented programming language. Now the question is, what is encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism? Okay. Before I start explaining about all the 4, listen. Basically, all of you sitting in the classroom is aware of all the 4 rules. I repeat, all of you sitting in the classroom is aware of all the 4 rules. You may be in a confusion like, no, sir, I did not learn object-oriented programming. I don't know C++. I don't know any of object-oriented languages, you may feel. But before giving you an idea of all the 4, want to clearly tell you all what you know. Every one of you know all these 4 rules. Did you catch my point or not? Every one of you know all the 4 rules. You may be aware of object-oriented programming or not aware of object-oriented programming, but all of you know all the 4 rules. We use all these 4 rules every day in our day-to-day life. We use all the 4 rules every day in our day-to-day life. Only thing is, we are now going to learn how to use them in application development. That's all. Got the point or not? So we use all the 4 rules every day in our day-to-day life. But now what we require to learn is how to use them in our application development. Okay, fine. So let me tell you about how to use them in your application development. So let's talk about each and everything. What is the first one? Encapsulation. The first rule is encapsulation. What is this encapsulation? Listen, guys, encapsulation means encapsulation, we're already following it. We already discussed on it. Encapsulation is nothing but wrapping. Wrapping here. So we basically write all our code inside a class, correct? And when we talked about this class long back, I said you, what are they? The difference between procedural and object-oriented languages is In procedural languages, all your members are directly defined in the program. Whereas in object-oriented programming languages, your members are defined inside of a wrapper or a container called as class. Yes or not? So what is a class? A class is a wrapper or a container of our members. Are you guys clear? So basically, the process of writing the code inside of a class is what we call as encapsulation. So what is the use of it? Hiding the data. Hiding the data. We are just hiding the data. Do you remember this? We already talked on this picture. In procedural programming, we define the members directly. But in object-oriented programming, what we do? We have a class where this class is a wrapper, and inside of it, we define all the members. Is it clear? Inside of this class, we are going to define all the members basically. So that's what exactly encapsulation is all about. And do we use encapsulation in our day-to-day life? Yeah, we use encapsulation in our day-to-day life. Your mobile phone has a screen guard to protect the screen. Your mobile phone has a pouch to protect the body. Correct? There's all nothing but wrapping only. Okay. Once your mother prepares food in the home, the food is put in an airtight container to protect it from germs, dust, and all. So we adopt encapsulation in every part of our life. We are wearing a dress that is also encapsulation, protection to our body. The type of dress what we wear is also important based on the climate, which is going to protect our body. Clearer or not? Okay. So do we use encapsulation in our day-to-day life or not? Second, what is the second one? Abstraction. What is abstraction? Abstraction is also hiding only, guys, but this is hiding of the complexity. The first one is hiding of the data, and the second one is hiding of the complexity. Sir, what is this hiding of the complexity? Okay, so let me clarify. What is hiding of the complexity? See, if you understand about this abstraction here, if you understand about the abstraction here, what exactly is this abstraction means? See, I'll give you a simple example. You're driving a car. Suppose you're driving a car. The car has an engine, and all of us know that every engine is internally a collection of hundreds of functionalities. If all these functionalities perfectly work, the car moves. Yes or not? If anything doesn't work, the car doesn't move. Clearer or not? If all these functionalities are perfectly done, then the car moves. Correct now? Understand this point now. What? As a driver of the car, do we require to know how the engine functions or not? Come on, answer me. As a driver of the car, do we require to know how the engine functions or not? Do we require to know or not required? Not required. Not required. No, not required. Why? Array, driver of the car doesn't require to know how the engine functions here. If the driver of the car has to know how the engine functions, only a mechanical engineer can drive the car. Rest of others cannot drive a car. Am I right or not? Only a mechanical engineer can drive a car. Rest of the other people cannot drive a car now. What the driver of the car has to know? How to control the engine. And to control the engine, the car has a set of interfaces in it. What is it? The clutch, the brake, the gear, the accelerator. By operating all these things, we are going to control the engine now. Am I right or wrong? By operating all these things, we are going to control the engine now. So that is only what we call as abstraction. Abstraction means it's a process of hiding the complexity and then providing with a set of interfaces to consume the functionalities. How do we use it in our application development, sir? We have abstraction in C language also. I repeat, we have abstraction in C language also. Sir, in C language also abstraction? Yes, C language also has abstraction. How, sir? See, all of you, if you understand about the C language, how do you work in C language? In C, we call some predefined functions now, printf, scanf. If I ask you a question, what is the need of printf? What is the need of printf? What's your answer? To print the output on the monitor. Correct? If I ask, how do you call it? First, we specify a format, specify a percentile D, percentile S, percentile F, something, comma, the value. Correct now? You know what is printf? You know how to call printf. But if I ask you, what is the logic behind printf? You can't answer this question now. Yes or not? What is the logic behind printf? Don't know. What we know, how to call printf. But what we don't know, what is present inside of the printf. Same way, we know how to drive the car. What we don't know, how the engine functions. Are you clearer or not? Understood my point? So this is what exactly what we call as abstraction. So abstraction is nothing new in object-oriented programming. Abstraction is present in procedural languages also. Functions are the best example for abstraction. For us, methods, we called sort method 2 days back, you remember? When you call sort, what will it do? Sorts the values of the array. Sorts the values of the array. If I ask you a question, what is the algorithm used for sorting the values? Do you understand my question or not? What is the algorithm that has been used for sorting the values? Don't know. What we know, how to call sort. Array.sort, pass your array, sorts. How is it sorting? I don't know any logic here. What I know is only how to call the method. Understood or not? Functions and methods are the best example for abstraction. Hiding of the complexity. You have abstraction in every inch of your life. In every inch of your life, you have abstraction. You know how to make a phone call, right? Tell me, yeah. You know how to make a phone call, how to answer a call, how to make a call. You know this. But do you know how the radio signals are transmitted between the phones when you make a call? How the data gets transmitted from your phone to the target phone? Can you make a call? When you make a call, we don't know. What we know, red button to cut the call, green button to answer the call. That's all. Am I right? That's what. In every inch of your life, you come across abstraction. You're using a watch. Do you know how the watch functions? We don't know. We know how to see the time, but we don't know how the watch functions. You're sitting in a chair. Do you know how the chair is manufactured? In every inch of your life, you come across abstraction. Is it clear? Next, inheritance. Snehal, I said about methods. I did not see inbuilt methods. Any method. You too can define method. Now, every method is abstraction only. Predefined, you're the defined. I did not say that. Inheritance. What is inheritance? Basically, this inheritance will give you reusability. Inheritance will give you reusability. Sir, what is it inheritance and what is this reusability? Okay. So what is this inheritance and what is this reusability? Let's try to understand about it. Are you clearer? Okay. So what is inheritance or what is reusability? Basically, see, all of you, even though you're not doing any job, you have money with you. Correct? Where you got from? Really irritating here. You are really irritating fellows. Where did you get the money here? Did you beg it? Where did you get the money? Tell me. Tell that how much time you want. Be active, I'm telling you. Be interactive. You are lazy and you are making me lazy. Where you are getting the money from? Why? Why? Because the law tells what all the property of the parents belongs to children. Yes or not? Your father has earned money, some money. You're using it now. You're enjoying it now. Your father purchased a car. Your father purchased a bike. You're using it now. That's what reusability. See, all the properties of the parents belongs to their children. Why? That is the law of inheritance. That is the law of inheritance. And this inheritance is going to give you reusability. For that, your father was using a car. He was driving a car, using a car. After some time, your father has given the car to you to use. Can you drive your father's car as if you're the owner of the car? Can you drive your father's car as if you're the owner of the car? Yeah. My father's car means my car only. Yeah. Who can stop me? My father's car means my car. No one can stop me. Correct? So, inheritance will give you reusability. How can I use this inheritance in application development, sir? How can I use it here? Listen. We have a class. And every class is a collection of members. Now, in this class, I define a set of members. Now, the same members I want to use them in another class. Option 1, copy all the code from class 1 to class 2. Copy the code, paste it in class 2. Copy and paste. And this copy paste is not reusing here. Copy paste means rewriting. Clearer or not? Copy paste means rewriting. Okay, now? Next. Listen. Second option. Establish a parent-child relationship between the two classes. Once you establish the relationship, the law comes into picture. What is the law? Parents' property belongs to children. Now, class 2 can consume the members that are defined in class 1 as if it is the owner of those members. Are you clearer or not? So reusability, this is not rewriting the code. This is reusing the code. This is called as reusability. So did you understand what inheritance provides to you? And remember, your parents' property doesn't belong only to you. It belongs to both your brothers and sisters also. You're not the sole owner. Correct? Same way, the members of one class can be consumed by any number of child classes. The members of one class can be consumed by any number of child classes. There can be n number of child classes, and all child classes can consume the members of the parent class. Are you guys clearer or not? Understood my point here? So that is what. So basically, when we talk about inheritance, inheritance will give you reusability. Clear? Now tell me, do you have inheritance in your life? If there is no inheritance in your life, you're not there first. Got it? Okay. You're the best example for inheritance. Your inheritance only. Next, polymorphism. What is this polymorphism? We call this as multiple behaviors. We call this as multiple behaviors. Guys, you don't require any example for polymorphism. You don't require any other example for polymorphism. You are the best example for polymorphism. You yourself are the best example for polymorphism. How, sir? See, let's talk like this. You completed your final examination, waiting for the results. One fine day, early in the morning, your friend has called you and said to you, "Arey, the university has announced the results. Congratulations, you're the topper of the college." How do you feel? I'll tell you one thing here. All of you should consult a psychiatrist here. I said you're the topper of the college, but still you don't have any expression on your face and you have a manufacturing defect. Arey, you people all should consult a psychiatrist first. Arey, also you have a sad face only here. Enjoy the subject, man. You're just putting lazy faces. If you're like this, you cannot enjoy the subject first. If you cannot enjoy the subject, you will not understand the subject. Involve first. If you don't involve, subject is a rocket science. If you enjoy the subject, it will be beautiful. Got it? Involve, yeah. So did you understand? I'm telling you, you're the topper of the college. How do you feel? Proud? Happy? Your WhatsApp status will change up. Your Facebook status will change up. Am I correct? Everything you try to share with all your friends, family members, everyone now. Correct, huh? But unfortunately, you received a call, but not like this. Your friend has called you and said, the university has announced the result. You have 3 backlogs in the exams. How do you feel? Happy and proud now? What? Sad, depressed? First, switch off the mobile phone. Stay away from the social media. Close the doors, sit inside. Understand, you're the same person. When I say you're the topper of the college, how did you feel? And when I say you have backlogs in the exams, how did you feel? That is called polymorphism. Did you understand me? So just understand, don't try to read them as a subject. Don't try to read them as a subject. Try to relate with your life. Try to relate with your life. Subject is very simple and easy. We use all these 4 in our day-to-day life here. Wearing a dress, encapsulation. Using a device, abstraction, any device, abstraction only. We don't know how a device, how the internal functionality of a device. What we know, how to use the device. You use a AC in your home. How is this AC working? Don't know. I know how to on the AC, how to set the temperature, how to set the time. That's all. Am I right or not? Okay, using a device is abstraction. Inheritance, no need to talk about it because we all are enjoying our parents' properties. And polymorphism, I said here, your own behavior is polymorphism. Behaving in different ways depending upon the input received is what we call as polymorphism. You don't require any other example for polymorphism. You yourself are the best example for polymorphism. Am I clearer, all of you? So did you understand before now? What we need to learn now is how to use them in our application development now. I want to give you an explanation. I given you what is encapsulation, what is abstraction, what is inheritance, what is polymorphism. So now the next question is, sir, how to use them in our application? That's what we are going to learn now. Okay, now, and see, any language, if it satisfies these 4 rules, then only that language becomes object-oriented. You don't satisfy at least one principle also, you cannot call that language as object-oriented now. Are you clear? All four must be satisfied. Encapsulation, abstraction are different here. Encapsulation means hiding the data. This provides you security. What encapsulation provides? Security. In C language, we have all this. Really, I don't know, Syed. I don't know C language has all these things. Abstraction is available in C language. I already said you. We don't have inheritance in C. Reusability is not there. We don't have security in C, and we don't have polymorphism also in C. What we have is only abstraction. Okay. What is encapsulation? Hiding the data. That is a process of writing your code inside a class, where the class is going to provide the security for the members. Encapsulation talks about security. What abstraction is telling? Abstraction is not security. What is abstraction telling you? Consuming the functionalities without knowing the complexity. Consuming the functionalities without knowing the complexity. We call a sort method. When we call a sort method, it is sorting the values of the array. But for sorting the values of array, there are so many algorithms. So what algorithm is used for sorting? We don't know. What we know, array.sort. Pass the array, sorted, finish. But how is it sorted? That is called as abstraction. Consuming the functionality without knowing the complexity is called as abstraction. Security is encapsulation. These two are two different concepts. Both will look same. Hiding only, na? No. One is hiding data to provide security. One is hiding complexity to make the things simplified. Okay. Inheritance is acquiring the properties of the parents by the children. See, you are acquiring all your parents' property. You are the legal owner of your parents' property. That is called inheritance. Inheritance is acquiring the properties of the parent by the children is called as inheritance. Wait, yaar, we are going forward now. I'll teach you. Wait. Before you eat the food, why you want to know the taste of it? Wait, now. I'll show you everything. Hold. Okay. So now, how to use all these things in our application? If you want to use encapsulation, you're required to write your code inside a class. You want to achieve encapsulation. If you want to achieve encapsulation, you're required to write your code inside of a. And from day one, we are already following that. See, you write code in C language. There is no encapsulation. There is no wrapper. Directly you write all your code in the program. No security. Understood my point or not? But if you're just working on C++, semi, not 100%. Why? I said you drawback with C++ language. We write code in class, but main comes again out of the class. But what object-oriented programming tells? Everything should be inside the class. But when you come to modern object-oriented languages like Java, Python, C#, VB.NET, all these languages are fully object-oriented. We write everything inside the class. We don't write anything out of the class. You may have a doubt here. Sir, we write using statement of the class. Using statement is not logic. Using statement is an instruction. Did you catch my point or not? Using statement is not any logic, man. Using is an instruction to the compiler, not to us or not to the program. It is instruction to the compiler. That's all. Okay, except that using, everything will be inside the class only. Are you getting my point or not? Okay, so basically class, we already know how to define a class. If tomorrow someone is going to ask what is a class, what's your answer? Already said you. It's a user defined type. Which is in turn a collection of members. Which is in turn a collection of members. Like, guys, if you take a class is a collection of members. From day one, we are talking about it. What are the members of the class? Fields, methods. We talked about these two earlier, na? Array, don't say variable. Variable is a part of a method. You declare inside a method, that is called variable. That's not a part. That's not a part of the class. That's a part of a method. Variables. Next, constructors, finalizers, properties, indexes, events, deconstructors. Write that. Are you guys clear? What is the class? A collection of members, which is in turn, collection of members like fields. You already know fields. You already know fields. Global variables are fields. Still, methods. We are consuming predefined methods. Now we are going to see defining our own methods. Right, till now what we done is consumed the predefined methods. Now we'll see defining our own methods. Constructors, finalizers, properties, indexers, events, decon. What are all these things, sir? In a company, in an organization, there are various managers available. Production manager, sales manager, HR manager, finance manager. Each person is responsible. All these people are going to do the same thing. Huh? Each person has a different work to do. What is the job of a production manager? Taking care of the production units. What is the job of the sales manager? Taking care of selling this products now. HR manager, taking care of the human resources. Finance manager, responsible for money management, finance management and all. Accounts manager, accounting your company. Here also, we have various members in the class here. Every member has a different work to do. Every member has a different work to do. What is the first member? Field. What is the work of a field? To hold a value, you already know that. What will a field do? Hold a value. So that you can consume that value throughout your class. You store something in a field and you can consume it throughout the class. So to hold values in your application or to hold a value in a class, we use fields. Understood or not? Already we learned about fields. I'm not giving any special introduction for fields. We'll start with methods. One by one member, how to define them, what are the use of them, we'll talk. So let me go to methods. What's a method? It's a named block of code. So I repeat, a method is a named block of code which performs an action Read, guys. So what is a method? Louder. A named block of code that performs an. So tomorrow someone asks what is a method? You can simply say a method is an action that has to be performed. Are you clearer or not? What is a method? It is an action that has to be performed. After performing the action, it may or may not give you result of that action. You take write line. What will write line do? Write line will print the output on the monitor. Correct? But after printing the output on the monitor, in the program, it is not going to tell you anything. I printed, I did not print, will not tell you anything. So that is a non-value returning. That is, now you see read line. What read line will do? Read line will read the input. But remember, guys, the value, whatever it has read, will be returned back. String str is equals to console.readline. How did you call? String str is equals to console.read. Means what is it? Whatever value it reads now, it returns the value back to you. Take it, I have read this, take this value, use it. But write line will not give you any result. Understood? So methods are two types. What are the two types? Value returning, non-value returning. We called sort method. Sort is sorting the values of the array, but not telling me I sorted or did not sort. It won't tell you. Are you clear? Get length. Get length is value returning. Understand? Get length will tell you how many number of rows are there, how many number of columns are there. Okay? See, listen. If a method returns a value, we call that as function also. We call that as function also. If a method doesn't return a value, we call it as a subroutine. Sir, we'll learn about functions in C language. What is the difference between function and method? What is the difference between function and method? The term or the word function that has been used in C language is wrong. I repeat, guys, the word function that has been used in C language is wrong. Why, sir? Function means must return a value. Then only you should call function. If it returns a value, then only we call it as a function. But do you remember in C language, our teachers have taught us functions are two types: value returning functions, non-value returning functions. Yes or not? Or if it doesn't return a value, you cannot call it function at all here. Function means must return a value. So now understand, non-value returning function is a blunder. Got it or not? Function means must return a value. So non-value returning function is a blunder. Got the point or not? It is a blunder. We should not use that word at all. There is nothing called as non-value returning. If it doesn't return a value, we cannot call it as a function. Point clearer or not? Okay. So that's what. That is why in modern programming languages, they called as methods. Methods are two types: value returning, non-value returning. If it returns a value, it is same as your function. If it doesn't return a value, it is a subroutine. Okay, now how to define a function? How to define a function? Have a look, guys. This is the syntax to define a function. How do you write? Optional or mandatory? optional. Okay, next void or type, next name, next a list of parameters, statements or logic. I already said, square brace implies optional, angular brace implies any. Correct? Let me explain about each and everything now. What is the first one? Array, I already said about modifiers. Remember, these are some keywords that can be used optionally. On a class, I said you earlier. Now I'm telling you on a method. Now I'm telling you on a method. Earlier I said you on a class. Now I'm telling you on a method. Okay, read this. Understand that if required means optional. Like what? Public, internal, protected, static, virtual, abstract, override, sealed, partial. Not like one or two here. So many modifiers are there. We will use every modifier. But to talk about it, situation should come. Now I cannot talk about all these things. You won't understand. Based on the situations, I'll tell you what is public, what is static, what is virtual, what is override, what is sealed, what is partial. We'll talk about everything else. Clear or not? Okay, every modifier, I'll tell you in detail going forward. But as of now, using them is only optional. It's not mandatory. Okay, now? Next, void or type. Methods are two types now. What are the two types? Non-value returning. If I use void here, the meaning is it is non-value returning. If I use void here, the meaning is it is non-value. Static void main, where static is a modifier, void is non-value returning. Non-value returning. No, sir, I want a value returning. You want a value returning, should return a value. Which type of value? Any type, different integer, string or something, then you're required to tell the type. If it is value returning, you need to tell the type. It is non-value returning, void. Void indicates non-value returning. Type to tell what type of value you wanted to return. Have a look, guys. Louder. Is it clear? Okay. See, already we used some methods in our code. Observe, guys. Clear, non-value returning. See, void. See the modifiers, not modifier, modifiers, plural, multiple can be used. Public static or modifier, non-value returning, clear. Next, for right line, you're passing a type, a value na. Next, value returning. Read line. We already talked about it. Read line returns a string. It's a value returning method. It is a value returning method. Next. Now, what is string return type of the method? What do we call return type of a method? So you can use, see, when you're writing your methods, you can use any type as a return type. I want integer as a return type. Fine. I want double as a return type. Fine. Anything can be used as a type. Read this note, all of you. Got it or not? Return type means not only predefined types, you can also have user defined types. Are you clear? How, sir? We'll show you. Wait, let us write. I'll show you everything to you. What is predefined type? What is user defined type? How to use it? I'll show you all. Okay. What next? What to talk about this year? Nothing to talk. Name is ID of the method for identification. The name is the ID of the method for identification. Name refers to every one of you have a name. The name is your ID. That's all. Method also requires a name. Next, parameter list. Read that. If, understand, if required, optional again, we can pass parameters to our methods for execution. And parameters of a method will make an action. Method is an action. Method is an action. Parameters of the method will make the actions dynamic. Point clear or not? Method is a action. Parameter of a method will make that action dynamic. Did you understand my point or not? So what do you mean by making dynamic? The best example is getLength. We use the getLength method, remember? The getLength method can tell you number of rows, number of columns also. One method only telling you two different results. How the result is changing based on the parameter value. If I pass 0, what I get is rows. If I pass 1, what I get is columns. If I don't use this parameter concept here, I require to write two separate methods. One method to get the rows, one method to get the columns. Correct? Which one is simple? Which one is simple? Writing one method for getting the rows, one method for columns, or one method giving both by changing the parameter value. That's what it is. Dynamic. It is. If I don't have parameter, method is static. Static in the sense it can return only rows or it can return only columns. Then it is static. But this parameter is making your method dynamic. Are you clearer or not? So did you understand all the things now about parameter list? Okay. Well, guys, listen here. Methods are of four types. Methods are of four types. What are the four types, sir? First one. Listen, first one. Non-value returning methods without parameters. What is the first category? Non-value returning methods without parameters. Okay. For example, watch. I'm using public as a modifier. I'm using public as a modifier. Next, void or type. I'm writing void. Name of the method, test1. I'm not passing any parameters. See now? Non-value returning. Yeah, non-value returning. Next. Without parameters. See there are no parameters also. Are you clear? In this, write your logic. What do you want to write? Nothing here. When I call this method, it has to print me. It has to print me the multiplication table of 5. Did you understand me or not? When you call this method, it has to print me the multiplication table of 5. That is the requirement. Okay, now watch. Let me write the logic. Int x is equals to 5 for int I equals to 1, I less than or equal to 10, I plus plus console dot write line x into I is equals to, I already explained you this to you, x into I. What happens here? 5 ones are 1, 5 twos are 10, 5 threes are 15 until 5 tens are 50. So now see, this method is performing an action. What action? Whenever you call the method, it will print the multiplication table of 5. Did you get my point? The method is performing a action. What is the action? Whenever you call the method, it will print the multiplication table of 5. Are you clear? Now tell me, this action is static or dynamic? This action is a static action, not dynamic action. Static action. Why static action? This method will print the multiplication table of 5 and 5 only. Am I right or not? Tomorrow, using this method, calling this method, I cannot print the multiplication table of 6. I need to have a separate method for it now. I want the multiplication table of 7. Separate method for it now. Understood? So this method is static in behavior. Are you clear? If you want to make it dynamic, just now I said you, how to make a method dynamic? Parameters. By using parameters, you can make a method dynamic. Shall we make it dynamic now? What dynamic, sir? I want a method that can print the multiplication table of a given number. Did you understand? I want a method that prints the multiplication table of a given number. I will tell the number, it should print the multiplication table of that number. If I say 7, print multiplication table of 7. If I say 9, print multiplication table of 9. If I say 17, print multiplication table of 17. So then it is static or dynamic. Then it is static or dynamic. Then it is dynamic now. But how to do it? Watch. Public void test2 index. Now see, when you're calling this method now, you need to pass the x here now, integer value. Whatever number you pass, it'll print the multiplication table of that number now. What is the logic? Same logic here. Same only. Copy this. Paste here. Are you guys clear? Copy this and paste it here. Understood or not? Okay. So this is what. So now this is static or dynamic. This is dynamic in behavior. And guys, also remember, this is the second category of your method. What is it? Are you clear with the both? First one is non-value returning method without parameters. Second one is non-value returning method with parameters. You can pass a value as a parameter and that is going to print you the results. Any doubts? Understood the both? Pavani, about this dollar, I already explained you in the last week. First, practice the programs in the notes. Already we talked about this 2 times or 3 times in the previous classes. Okay, what next? Third. Value returning method without parameters. What is that? Value returning method without parameters. Okay. So what is that? See, look, I'm writing another method. Public string test3. What this method will do, the method returns string as a result. What is that? The method returns string as a result. Read line, return string as a result. Same way, this method also is going to return string as a result. Okay. See what I'm writing in the method. Simple here. This method, I'm declaring a string here. Hello world. Okay, now what this method has to do, whenever I call this method, this string should be first converted into uppercase. The string should be first converted into uppercase. Means the action you wanted to perform is convert the string to uppercase now. The action you wanted to perform is convert the string into uppercase now. Okay. Yeah, let's convert. How? Watch. This is going to convert the string into uppercase. And finally, return str. So what it returns you? The converted string will be returned back now. Are you clear? See, whenever you have a return type, compulsory you should write return, whatever is it. If it is string, str or something. If it is integer, return a integer value. But if this is missing, you get an error. Be careful. If the method is value returning, and if there is no return statement in the code, you will get an error. Are you clear? Okay, fine. And now see, this method is going to return you a string now. Understood all of you? So this is a dynamica statica. These are static in behavior. These are, can we make it dynamic? Come on. Can we make it dynamic? Yeah, by passing a parameter. By passing a, tell me, public string test4 string str. What is the code? Whatever string you pass, it is converted to uppercase and sends you back. Whatever string you pass, it will convert into uppercase and sends you the result back. Okay. And this method is statica dynamica. Dynamic in behavior. Are you guys clear? Methods are 4 types. Non-value returning methods without parameters, non-value returning method with parameters, value returning methods without parameters, value returning method with parameters. Guys, I'll tell you one thing. Stop writing once. Stop writing. Whatever I tell you is inside the notes. Everything is in the notes. What are you doing? You're focusing on writing the notes and not listening to what I am telling. Are you clearer or not? Why I given the notes to you? Everything is in the notes. With all the comments also, it was present as it is. Don't focus on writing the notes in the classroom. Listen every point I say. You're focusing there and you're missing the points what I'm telling. Clear, huh? Okay, that's why I said you. Bring the printed notes to the classroom, I said you. And you're still carrying your notes and writing it in the class. Where is your notes? Where is the printed notes? I said you carry the printed notes in the classroom. Bring it here. You're not LKG students every day telling you, bring it, bring it. How many times should I tell you? I already said you that. Bring the printed notes into the classroom. Okay, so fine. Well, so methods are 4 types. Are you clear with all the 4? Okay, now answer this question. Where should we define methods? Come on, answer the question. Where should we define methods? Concentrate here, concentrate here. Where should we define methods? Inside a why? Why? Array, morning we learned encapsulation. That what your answer is. Methods, we need to define them inside a class because of the rule of encapsulation. Okay, what is the answer? As per the rule of encapsulation, we need to define methods inside of a class. Are you clear? Okay, then observe. I am creating a new project. Have you tried all options what I shown you? Let me create a new project. What project? Console application. Console application. Click next. Give a name to the project. Oops project. Location, our own folder. Okay, this is our project name. Click on next button. So project name is Oops project means our namespace name is also Oops project now. Yesterday, first project, second project, third project. Today, Oops project. .NET 7. Serio, select the checkbox always. Okay. Click on create. Yeah. So we got the namespace, we got the class, we got a main method, everything is ready. Correct? Okay. Now, as per the rule of encapsulation, we're required to define methods inside the class. Till now, we are writing all our code in the main method only. Now we are going to write inside of our class. Okay, watch. Come here. Copy each method and put it inside the class now. First method. Is my second method. Just a minute. Just a minute. This method prints the multiplication table of a given number. Am I correct? But up to 1 to 10 only. Up to 1 to 10 only. Guys, suppose I want the multiplication table of 6 up to 12. I want the multiplication table of 7 up to 15. I want the multiplication table of 8 up to 20. Did you understand me or not? What to do? Comma, passing another parameter int ub, upper bound, and I'll say here ub. Now see, if I pass 6 comma 12, what it will do is it'll print the multiplication table of 6 starting from 1 to 12. 6 ones are 6, 6 twos are 12 until 6 12s are 72. If I say 7 comma 15, will print my multiplication table of 7 from 1 to 15. Are you clear? Okay. Any number of parameters can be passed, comma, int ub, without using 10 here. What I'll say? ub. That's all. Okay. Next. Third method. Copy. Put it in the class. Fourth method. Copy. Put it in the class. Done, guys. All 4 methods are inside the class now. So we are following encapsulation, right? Next. How will the methods that are defined in the class gets executed? Read it. How will methods that are defined in a class gets executed? if we want the methods in a class to be executed, we need to call them. You need to call here. Without calling sort, will it sort you? Without calling reverse, will it reverse? You need to call them. What is the answer? You need to call them explicitly. Everything should be called. Without calling, nothing executes. Clear? Okay. Next. How to call methods defined in a class. How to call methods defined in a class. Okay. Listen. Methods of a class are of two types. Methods of a class are of two types. First one, I already explained you this one. Non-static, static. Are you clearer or not? Methods of a class are of two types. What are the two types? Non-static, static. Okay. By default, every method is non-static only. And if we want it to be static, we need to explicitly use static keyword on that method, just like we are doing it with main method read. Are you clear? Yes or not? What is that? By default, every method is non-static. No, sir, I want it to be static. Then prefix the static keyword. Use the static keyword, just like we are using it on main every day. Every day on the main, are we using static or not? Same concept. Is it clear? Now tell me, you defined four methods in the class now. These four are static or non-static? Come on, these four are static or non-static? Do we have both? Come on, tell me. All are non-static. Sir, you said static. I did not say static method. I said static in behavior. Static is opposite to dynamic here. Dynamic in behavior, opposite is static. The method is not static. If you want it static, you're required to use static keyword. Did I use anywhere? Where I used? Main. I did not use on the four methods. So your four methods are non-static. Point clear? So two types of methods. One is non-static. One is by default, everything is non-static. If you want to make it static, static keyword should be used. Okay. See, if your method is non-static, to call the method, we need to create the instance or object of that class. Whereas if your method is static, we can call them directly by prefixing the class name. Okay, examples I'll tell you. Console dot. Console is a static, write line is a static method na. Console dot write line. Console dot clear. Array dot sort. All these are static only. Array dot sort. Convert dot 2 into 32. Convert dot 2 into 32. All these are static only. All these are static only. If it is non-static, you should create instance and call. You should create instance and call. Okay. Examples. Get length. How did you call get length? Do you remember? You did not call array.getLength. You called arr.getLength. Where arr is the instance of the array. Arr is the instance of the array. Length also you call like this. Arr.length. Arr.getLength. These two are non-static. Are you clearer or not? Sort, reverse, copy. These are static. How did we call? Array.sort, array.reverse, array.copy. That's how you call. Are you guys clearer or not? Okay. Now our methods are all non-static. Means how to call? By creating the instance. By creating the instance. So the next question is, sir, how to create instance of the class? How to create instance of the class? Okay. So concentrate here. How do you create the instance of the class? Syntax to create instance of the class. Watch. Class name. Instance name is equals to new class name. Class name, instance name is equals to new class name. And here you can pass a list of, but those values are not mandatory, man. They're only optional. Is it clear, everyone? What is your class name? Tell me now. Hey, what's your class name? Program. Program. Okay, instance name. Any name you like. P is equals to new. That is how you should create. Program. What is the instance name? P. New program. Values are not mandatory. Values are optional. When the time comes, I'll tell you what are those values. But now values are optional. Okay, now? And don't forget, this is declaration and initialization. So what is the other way you can write? Program P. What is this? Declaration. Is equals to initialization. Are you clear? You can write on the same line. You can separate and write also. Okay. So this is a way how you create the instance of the class. Finally, sir, where should we create the instance of class? Any guess? Where should we create the instance of class? Listen, we can create instance of a class either within the class or in. Are you clear? We can create instance of a class either within the class or in another class also. Within the class also we can do. Another class also we can do. Clearer or not? Okay. See now, you can just create it within the class. You can create out of the class also. Okay. If we wanted to create the instance within the class, listen, if we wanted to create the instance within the class, it can be created inside of any static block, inside of any static block. Generally, we do it we do it in main method because it is a static block, and moreover, the entry point of the program. Read that carefully. Any static block of that class can be created under any static block of that class. Generally, we do it in main method. Why? Main is static block, na? Main is static block. Because main is static block, we create the instance in the main. Second reason, entry point of the program here. Are you clear? See, if we want to create the instance in another class, then it can be created anywhere in that class. That is either static or non-static block also. Are you clear? Within the class, static block. Another class, static, non-static. No props. Anywhere you can create. So all of you, do one thing. I will show you that practically in the tomorrow session, but do one thing. First, start from here. Read each and every point. What is encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, and this page, method. I explained about each and everything. And afterwards, what I said, everything is present. See, where should we define method? How to execute a method? How to call a method that is defined in a class? Next, how to create the instance of a class? Where should we create the instance of a class? Are you guys clearer? What I taught you, everything as it is, you'll have in the notes. Everything prepare carefully. Read them carefully. Tomorrow, I will show you calling these methods and executing them. Is it clear? How to call them within the class, I'll show you. How to call them another class also, I'll show you. Same class, different class. Both I'll show you. Okay, let's stop here. We'll meet tomorrow. Smruti Ranjan Panda. The Google Classroom, you have the WhatsApp link in the Google Classroom. In the Google Classroom, you can click on the link and join the group. Up to what extent the video links are provided, they're already posted in the Google Classroom. No, main cannot be non-static. Main must be static. Main cannot be non-static. Main must be static.